We're easy to find, honestly. You could Google it and either one of us pop up, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Okay. You spend
ready?
a lot of time Googling yourself?
You got to see what's going on the interwebs.
Should.
I do.
That was what we call a double entendre.
Shut your face. You're fired.
When you've been married this long, you Google yourself once in a while.
Anyway,
Bliss. All right.
we're gonna start.
Okay, go.
Hello, friends.
Wait.
What?
We need to be way more serious than this.
Dude, what is your problem?
This is when we warn people about all of the craziness they may experience by being exposed to our podcast, Mistrial by Fire.
What exactly are you suggesting right now?
Well, first, I think we need some serious sounding music in the background.
Okay, and then what?
That's as far as I got.
Well, then we should tell them what sort of effects they could encounter as a result of our show.
Are you talking about something like side effects?
Exactly.
Genius.
Make sure to consult your physician, life coach, clergy, spouse, real estate agent, or anyone else that might have an opinion about how you live your life before listening to the podcast Mistrial by Fire.
Side effects could include, but are not limited to, sudden bouts of rage, finger cramping due to constantly pausing the show so you can discuss your point, dizziness,
Pulling your car to the side of the road so you can safely laugh, lack of patience due to having to wait a week for the next podcast, appearing crazy while arguing with the show that you know can't hear you.
While listening to Mistrial by Fire, you may find it unsafe to eat or drink, operate heavy machinery, or try to appear attentive to someone else while they explain anything to you.
You may find yourself exposed to profanity, blasphemy, and or triggering events.
Some stories may hit too close to home, making you feel sensitive, defensive, or guilty.
They may cause a wedge between you and your significant other when they refuse to see your point of view.
You might be overwhelmed with adult content, laughter, or the feeling of shock and awe.
This podcast is not intended for listeners under the age of 18. Enjoy.
You are listening to the podcast Mistrial by Fire, brought to you by Uncommon Threads.
I'm Kyoko.
And I'm Eric.
We've been married for over 15 years.
And believe it or not, sometimes we argue.
Those arguments have led to some pretty interesting conversations, and from time to time, we lure our friends and family into getting involved.
We also both share backgrounds working in the criminal justice system.
Mix those together, and that's where the idea for Mistrial by Fire was born.
We will source stories from the web, or better yet, cover original content sent to us by our listeners.
Typically, we will look for material that Eric and I might have differing opinions on.
Most of the time, guests will be invited to go over the stories with us and ultimately weigh in. On some occasions, it'll be just Kyoko and I.
In a way, Eric and I will present our sides of the argument, similar to opposing sides in court.
Our guests will listen to our perspectives and participate in the discussion.
Ultimately, though, our guests will be expected to take one side or the other. They will essentially deliberate and render a verdict.
All stories will be trimmed down to one specific question of guilty or not guilty. That question will be identified and made clear.
Our guest jurors can agree on guilty or not guilty, in which case applause will be heard, and all will be right in the world.
But if they can't agree on a verdict, then we will declare a hung jury. If someone refuses to pass judgment, well, that's considered a mistrial.
And a sad trombone sound will fill the air.
Also, sometime during the middle of the show and during the conclusion, we will tell you how to write into the podcast with your content.
If we use your content, we'll send you some merch, but those details will come later, so stay tuned.
And that's it. That's all there is to it.
So again, thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to Mistrial by Fire. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the show. I'm here with my handsome husband, Eric.
That's me.
Also my co-host.
Also me.
Go ahead and introduce our guests.
Okay, pretty cool. For all of the shows that we've done so far, this is the first time we have a return guest on our show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Courtney.
Courtney.
Hello.
Yes.
Fan favorite.
I know. Yeah. She was pretty popular.
Very popular.
Yeah.
It's the laugh yoga.
I think it is the laugh yoga. It probably has a little bit to do with how much you laugh too.
I like to laugh.
It is an amazing laugh, honestly. Very infectious. I love it.
And she brought somebody that has not been here before, claims his name is Dan, kind of sounds like an alias.
Looks like he's already unhappy about choosing to be on our show.
Definitely that. But yeah.
Dan, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
I'm Dan. I work for a charter school in Sacramento. I'm a teacher. Let's see, 3 kids, divorced.
All right.
Happily divorced, I like to say.
Nice.
Okay.
Us too. And I mean, not from each other, but
Whoa. Wow.
the first ones.
Man, I mean, I know I don't listen to everything you say all the time, but I had no idea we were divorced. Like,
that would be pretty terrible, honestly.
jeez. Let's get back to Dan. You work at a charter school.
Correct.
Okay. How long you been doing that?
About 5 years.
And God bless you.
I've been teaching longer than that. If you want to bless me, yeah. So,
Need more blessings.
15 years.
15 years. Yeah. My wife has been teaching me for 15 years, also known as we have been married for 15 years.
And bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing my struggle.
A charter school is no joke, right? You got a lot going on there. You got probably a wide variety of kids.
We don't. We actually, it's 22 and up. So it's adults only.
Oh, okay.
So we provide diplomas, and we pay for vocational training.
That's awesome.
For anybody who doesn't have a high school diploma. So whether you can have a diploma from somewhere else, but so a United States high school diploma.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was not where my mind went. I'm glad you explained that. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to bounce back over here to Courtney because she has what I believe to be one of the most interesting jobs I've ever heard.
You're a little obsessed with it, if I'm going to be honest.
I think that's normal.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Is that normal, Courtney? I'm sure that's what you want. Okay. People obsessed with your job. That's amazing.
Have you ever just told somebody that you do laugh yoga and they're like, oh yeah, okay, next thing we're going to talk, or like do people hear that, right? And pretty much the first time they want to know more about it.
So people who have never done it definitely are more interested.
Yeah.
I've had a few people that have done it before, so that makes it a little bit easier. One time I was trying to explain to somebody at the senior center that I want to like get in there and do laugh yoga with the seniors. And I started explaining it, and then she was like, I've done it. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. You're so much easier.
I don't have to explain so much. Dan is obsessed. He
with laugh
thinks
yoga?
This is crazy. He really is like, how... He's like, I think it might be a scam, but like, I know you, so it's probably not. But like,
well, I have a question. Do I have to get 10 people to sign up for
no,
laugh yoga?
That was like his first question. He was like, so you're not recruiting anyone? I was like, I'm not recruiting anyone. I said, but it's weird because I've had like 5 people be like, so are you hiring? And I was like, I technically am not certified yet, and I haven't actually started the business, so no, I'm not hiring. But yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me, they want to be laugh yogis.
I'm not surprised. Like, who wouldn't want to get paid to laugh? That's amazing.
I told you guys, like 2020, I told my mom, I want to get paid to laugh. And she laughed at me, but look who's laughing
right now. Who's laughing all the way to the bank. That's right.
And I think now when you look at me, let's back up to the first time we met. Would you look at me and would you say that's somebody that knows a lot about laugh yoga?
No, but you actually had a great explanation of it in our first interview.
You don't need to know anything about it to do it.
You don't need to know anything about it to do it. That is true. You really just kind of got to show up. That's the start.
Just show up.
I feel like it's the equivalent of like, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, it's supposed to like induce like nirvana, right? You're supposed to have this moment where your mind breaks. And every time she talks about laugh yoga, my mind breaks. And that's what I'm so fascinated about is the fact that it shouldn't be a thing. It is a thing. It's a needed thing. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Things are screwed up. We need laugh yoga. And that bothers, that hurts me. The whole thing, it's a conundrum for me. And I find it infinitely fascinating that it exists. And,
I feel better about myself now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's harder for guys to understand that. I feel like women laugh more. Maybe that's why.
I've had some really good experiences and had some harder experiences so far. Some of the things that I've learned is I had an older woman tell me she didn't need my business card, and then later she like walked over and she was like, I really do need it, and I was like, okay. So I gave
She's
it
working
to
on
her.
herself.
She told me that her husband died like 6 years ago and she hasn't laughed since.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, I can't imagine. I laugh every day.
Yes.
Like I can't imagine going that long like without laughter. You can come for free.
Yeah. Let me just help you.
Just come laugh with
oh my
me.
goodness. Yeah.
I felt so bad, but then I've had really good experiences where it just really works. So it's different.
For the people that are listening, just like in 30 seconds or less, what is laugh yoga?
So laugh yoga is laughing intentionally. So it is getting together. Everybody says, so you're a comic, you're a comedian. No, that's not what I'm doing.
You're pretty funny.
But you are funny. Yes.
Yeah.
I try. But no, it has nothing to do with coming up with like a skit or anything to make somebody laugh. We have laughter exercises. And so people come, we do, and because it's called laugh yoga for the deep breathing and the yogic breathing, but it is just laughing with intention to laugh. So I get up there and I tell you what we're going to do, and then you follow me, and I pretty much treat everyone like preschoolers, and then we laugh together.
It's a good time. I have participated. For those who didn't hear the last Courtney show, I got to take a little sample. It's awesome. It's a good time. You leave smiling, and I would definitely recommend it.
It is so interesting.
I think in 10 years it's going to be a cult, and that's okay.
Yes,
I do.
yes, and you're the leader. And we got to interview her first. I feel so special.
We're all going to be wearing the same shoes. And
I will not be drinking any Kool-Aid. I just want to put that out there.
I don't like Kool-Aid, so we're good.
That's good.
Is it going to be Starry or whatever the new Sprite is?
Whatever the new thing is.
I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Oh,
all
my
right.
goodness.
My 17-year-old sister thinks that I'm going to be a cult leader, by the way. She agrees with you.
I've wanted to be a cult leader since I was a child. So,
Yeah.
I'm very jealous. We know this, though.
I mean, at some level, who doesn't? That's what we're all trying to accomplish, I think.
That's what happened to families. You're the leader of your own little cult.
Till they move away.
Well, it depends on if. Well, apparently you're not a very good cult leader if they're moving away.
All right, this has got weird. We have 3 stories for you, 3 scenarios, if you will, and my lovely co-host / wife is going to jump into the first one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay, what's wrong with your eyebrows?
I don't know.
right now?
I kind of detected a tone.
A good tone or a bad tone?
I don't know.
You never detect a good tone, huh? You only just detect negative tones.
That's
You
true.
need to adjust your detector settings.
I need more laugh yoga in my life.
Oh, I can make you laugh.
I think he needs more laugh yoga, and then you won't be as
That's
frustrated
true.
with his tone.
I
That's
100% agree. You know what? And for our listeners, they should be always checking in, because one of these days we are going to do a live laugh yoga session with Courtney, TBD, but that's happening. How dare you? The audacity.
I don't think I can let myself go like that. I agree with literally everything Dan said. I think we need it. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Guess what? You're doing it.
I think it's.
We're going to bring Dan.
I think in
will.
some
I will.
ways it's concerning that we need it, right? Because we need to have like this structured environment where we make you laugh because you need laughter in your life. I just don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could sit in a room. I mean, some funny stuff would have to happen and I would coincidentally laugh, but I don't know if I could just be like, okay, we're going to laugh now.
You can do it. I believe in you. It'll be fine.
Do people ever turn into like blubbering piles of like tears after they've been laughing for a little bit?
Oh, like it's all cathartic.
Yeah,
and-
that's my concern for myself, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So the lady that I was just talking about, I really do think that I told her, I said, you're probably going to cry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like going to be
For
such a
her.
release for her.
Well, because it's connected to the loss of her life partner and she hasn't done it for so many years.
She'll probably cry, but that's why also I have like laugh yoga with kids. So they're just fun.
I'm
Just a good time.
I'm concerned that Dan and I get roped into this, and then at some point we're holding each other crying.
Yeah,
at the end of this.
I can see it now.
Whatever needs to happen. Obviously, it was
It
necessary
is
if it gets
not
to that.
whatever needs to happen.
It'll only be for like it's a sample. It'll be 5 minutes. If you are a pile of tears after 5 minutes, then we're going to just go ahead and skip laugh yoga and go to therapy, okay? It'll be fine.
Okay, let's just move on.
All right.
See what you did, Courtney?
Yes.
So scared.
that was not my fault.
Right? Like insecurities, got to work on those. Case number 1.
Very secure.
Yeah.
Am I guilty of being too suspicious? My husband has been working 6 hours away in a different city and commutes back and forth from home to his job. The distance was taxing on our marriage, and after 2 years of only being home on the weekends, he switched to another job closer and part-time, and occasionally worked part-time as needed at his old job. Since he was no longer working full-time, his coworkers wanted to go drinking for his last hurrah, even though they would still see him a few times every month. He mentioned staying a day later than his unofficial last day so that they could go out. He's a mild introvert and always begs me to come to any of his social events. I've met and been heavily involved with his small social and family circles because of his strong push to include me. With this job, however, because it's so far away, I've never met any of his coworkers, and he's usually so eager to get out of that city, and he doesn't stay after his shifts. At first, I thought it was sweet of his coworkers to do that, but then I realized there was no push to include me. When I asked about it, he was a little defensive and said it would be awkward since no one else was bringing their significant other. I thought it would have been a good opportunity to meet people I've only heard about for years. When I have time off or can work from home, I usually travel with him, so it wouldn't have to be such a big deal to include me. For some reason, that tipped me off, but I did not go. Prior to his last few shifts, I saw him pack nicer clothes for going out. One night, I walked in on him at home while he was on the computer. He exited out of whatever he was looking at as soon as he noticed me in the same room. I didn't say anything at the time. I ended up checking the search history on the night he went out. He searched, what clothes are most attractive on men? What should men wear while going out? What is the most popular cologne for men? Are black pants with a denim jacket acceptable? I should mention that I had to use his password to get into his profile and access this information. He doesn't know that I know his password, but he literally uses the same password for everything. I thought this was weird since he normally doesn't give two shits about what he wears. He will splurge on quality items, but he's no fashionista. Anyway, a bunch of his coworkers did end up going. It wasn't a secret meeting or a date night with his assistant or anything. But when I told him later I felt bad that he didn't offer to include me, he said he felt like I was just asking because it seemed like I wanted to go only to observe him or keep an eye on him. I tried to explain that I only felt that way after I was not included. Does this seem suspicious, or am I just butthurt that my husband has a life that I'm not included in? Am I guilty of being too suspicious?
I don't know that. Why not talk to him about it? Why is she like hacking into the computer and checking the search history? These all seem like things she could discuss.
I mean, maybe, but like I've talked about in other shows, women know.
Don't look at me like that.
Women know when things are off with their partner. Women are very observant, and people are creatures of habit. So if he's doing things that are out of habit, it doesn't mean he's cheating, but it does mean something's different.
Dan's looking at us like he doesn't like it when mom and dad argue.
There's that. Yeah, so men are observant too, just so we know, not just.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah. And we can laugh when people tell us to.
Maybe. Without crying. Up until the point that she got into his internet history, I think she was out of line. But then as soon as she saw the search history, I'm like, oh, yeah, you got something to worry about.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing. I was like, man, what are you doing? Does he just not know? You know, because I don't think.
How to delete his internet history?
Pick new passwords.
Right.
But when I'm listening to those questions, and I only heard this once, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't sound like he's looking up like how do I attract women or what are women attracted to?
But isn't that kind of what he's asking? Because it's not like they were going on a date night and he was looking into this to impress his wife. He's going somewhere without his wife, and now this is the question.
Oh my God,
Suspicious.
you sound so scary when you talk like that.
Scary.
Okay, but he also was at work, and maybe somebody made fun of his outfit or something, and then he was like, "Okay, if I'm gonna go out with them this last night for this last hurrah, like, what do I wear?"
I like that benefit of the doubt
Yes,
approach.
look
That's
at you being
nice.
positive.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like that actually makes sense to me, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty skeptical about most. Like,
I was
wow.
thinking the same thing. I was like, that's actually reasonable.
Yeah. Why are you looking at me like I have mold growing
Because
on my
like
face?
because that is a possibility.
It is.
It is.
I agree. I know. I never would have
To
thought
be
of
fair,
myself.
that's super suspicious though.
Right. You're like, I'm not going to lie. It
And
seems
if I
suspicious.
found that, like, no, I'd be like, so who were you dressing for and who's smelling you?
Right. Yeah. Who's sniffing you?
And if
We
he
need to
was,
talk.
and if he was like Dave and Leon are always making fun of me because I wear my same dad outfit every day, and you know,
If I'm your wife and I know that's what you wear every day, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I think it is a little weird that his last couple days to work, he was bringing nicer clothes. Was that mentioned in there? Like
That was in there.
so he left with nicer clothes, and he's been searching how to look nicer, and that's all we know, right?
Right. Well, and so that's the other thing that, was mentioned. Maybe something else was going on at work about somebody making fun of him or something like that. But Occam's razor says the closest is something's off. And yes, maybe that is it. But why not talk to your wife about that? Like, hey, what do you think would look better? The guys at work are giving me a hard time about this. Like, that's your partner. Wouldn't you talk to your partner? Or is now Google your partner and you only confide in Google?
I think Google's less judgmental than my partner.
I think this might be a case of someone who's just kind of sad, who maybe found somebody that he is attracted to, but not like he's got something going on. Because I feel like if he had something going on, he wouldn't have to look nicer, right? I mean, if you are...
Right. That's interesting perspective. Like, she already likes me in my ugly clothes. It's fine.
Yeah. Are you saying maybe he's found somebody at work that's already attracted to him?
No, I'm saying that he's attracted to someone and wants to
Be noticed.
but there probably, if there was something going on, he wouldn't need to dress up.
So there's no mutual anything, but maybe he has a crush.
Right.
Even if we're not interested in somebody sexually, we still want to appear attractive. Does that make sense? You know, like if I'm hanging out with a bunch of peers, I don't want to look like a bum. You know, I want to look better.
Yeah, I could see that, you know, keeping up appearances sort of a situation.
But I think what I'm picking up from Dan is maybe this is somebody he's attracted to, let's say inappropriately, and wants to.
I mean, it could be, or maybe it is just a dress code issue. Maybe everybody at work is. Maybe he looks like a slob and he's recognizing it. I don't. But I don't think. I think if there was a thing, if there was something for her to worry about, then he wouldn't be looking up like, how do I make myself? Yeah, it just seems there'd already be a thing. You wouldn't need to worry about it.
But it doesn't sound like she usually checks his computer, so that's not something that was on the radar for him either.
So you got that. I got the other impression. I got the impression she's checking stuff because she's like, he literally uses the same password for everything.
But he doesn't know that. And that's what's important. You're not going to delete your search history if you think.
No, I agree. I don't think he knows.
Right.
But I think.
Oh, it's still happening.
She
right?
does this pretty routinely because, you know, I mean, she's like, all his passwords are the same. She definitely didn't say I never do anything like this, or this was the first time I ever looked into it. I'm kind of getting the vibe that, you know, this is kind of normal for her.
Maybe.
Which would mean this is abnormal for him, right? So
that's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, this is abnormal for him for sure.
So maybe some red flags, something to worry about. Maybe some therapy.
Have you ever Googled how to look nicer, though?
Have you seen me?
Look at him. He doesn't need to.
Thank you. I was going to go the other direction.
I know. I was trying to hedge you off at the pass. So, Dan, you are a handsome man.
Thank you.
No, it's more so because we're mutually friends with Kenny, who was on before. And as you mentioned, he's always in a suit, grew up in one. So Dan had to come and hang out with me last week.
All the time.
He came to like a business thing with me last week. It was like, I wore a blazer because like I'm representing you. And so I think that that's where my mind goes is like, maybe this guy works in like a weird, whatever, somewhere where they just wear whatever. Right.
Yeah, right.
And then he's like, oh, we're actually going out in the city. So I think that he's like, how do I dress nice for going out tonight in the city?
Right.
Because he probably wears like a t-shirt and jeans to go to work, but like, it's probably not the most. And I don't know about you guys, but dress code's a big thing when you're in the city.
That's
if
true,
you go to a club,
a nice restaurant,
especially as a man, you can't wear this, you can't wear that. You have to wear closed-toed shoes. They have to be this kind of shoes. They can't be Jordans. You can't wear anything with a logo on it. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think the person that doesn't typically do that sort of thing is not going to have any idea.
They wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I was in Roseville at a club one time, and me and my friend invited two guys. Where I'm like, hey, here's the dress code. I literally just sent a picture of the dress code. I was like, don't do any of these things.
Right.
They're not going to let you in.
Yeah.
And then it's a waste of your time. You drove from Sac to Roseville to come to this club, and you can't get in.
Can't even get in. Yeah,
What
that's a
kind of
good
stuff?
point.
How long is the list? Like, I don't even know about the list.
It's literally everything I just told you. Like, it's like, you can't wear a logo. You can't wear this kind of shirt. You can't wear these kind of shoes. For
no
the girls,
holy
it's like you can wear whatever you want.
Can Dan or I get in
Today,
just how we are right now?
Today, you probably could, yeah.
Okay.
But there's like if he was wearing certain kind of shoes, they wouldn't let him in.
And some of it's like gang affiliations because they don't want drama. Also, it's just they want a certain client base at their establishment. So they're like, you can't come looking like a bum. You need to dress nice.
Last time they said you couldn't have a black t-shirt.
Interesting.
I think it was because they didn't want anyone to get confused with your black t-shirt being security, because the
That's
security
funny. Yeah,
are
that
wearing
makes
black
sense.
t-shirts that
makes
say
sense,
security.
yeah.
Okay.
But I'm like, how can you? Everyone wears a black t-shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't, and to go to the club? I don't know. I'm
Man,
so
that's
glad I'm a
crazy.
girl.
Right. It's way easier.
Yeah, I just wouldn't go. I'd be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, well, clearly because I haven't. And
I haven't bought that wardrobe.
I don't think I've ever been to a club like that. I mean, I know they exist because I watch TV, but I haven't ever been on one.
I don't meet the price point for those places. Like, I literally couldn't afford it. I don't think.
I don't want to buy a drink there.
Right.
It's some glow in the dark $40, syrup.
Yeah, we get a whole bottle for that price.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Other people buy me drinks.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, okay.
Those days are
I
gone
would
for me.
I would probably do laugh yoga if people bought me drinks also when I went to clubs.
I don't think she needs laugh yoga for that. But
So
all right,
I'm
keeping
saying
this in-
suspicious.
Well, just keeping it in context, yeah. If if this is me ending my job and I'm wearing fancy clothes and
I'd be pissed because I let you leave the house in like camo shorts and like a plaid shirt. So if all of a sudden you want to go, don't look at me like that's never happened. That
I
literally
feel
just happened.
attacked. I don't know why you need to put this out in
I
the
think
world.
that's what you were wearing last time, right?
Right. All I'm saying is, like, yes, I love you and whatever you're wearing, but if we're...
Is that what you're saying right now?
Yes, because if all of a sudden you're going to a work thing and you want to, like, smell extra good and look extra nice, I'd be like, what in the actual fuck is happening right now?
Because that's the rules. Courtney just mentioned it. When we're going to a club for my last Hurrah with my work buddies, and I got to wear skinny pants and...
No.
Like a silk shirt. I don't know what they're doing out there. A rope
Obviously.
chain. I don't know. I don't know.
You just like describe Borat. I don't know.
You cannot dress yourself.
Can I wear slides?
No.
Nice socks?
No.
With really
It's like
nice socks?
clean socks and slides and my camo shorts and plaid shirt.
Yes. Freshly shaven head.
No,
and some Old Spice.
So like I don't mind if you wear those things because you're comfortable in them when we go out, but
it seems like you mind.
no, I always dress like, I won't say fancy, but like kind of nice. And I'm like, yeah, come as you are, sort of a thing. But if you're gonna go the extra mile for somebody else, now all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell?
Because it's
Why
a
aren't you-
rule.
No.
It's the rule. I can't get into the room if I don't.
That was
swing
a
into
maybe.
if I don't swing into the Ross and pick up some fancy clothes
Your skinny jeans and silk shirt and a rope chain.
and a rope chain. Thank you very much.
Clean socks and slides.
Man, I'm ready to. I'm attracted to myself.
I
just
can tell.
picturing that. I'm looking fly. Dope.
If only the listeners could see the concern of our guests on the show.
I know how to dress. Hey, you fell in love with me.
I do love
I think you would talk to her, though. I think that's where the difference is. I think you would talk to her and you would be like, hey, I have to wear something.
Oh my God.
And she would be like, I'll go to Ross and pick out the outfit and it's not going to be silk.
Right.
Number one, plan A. I'm trying to get out of it. All right?
That's true. That's true. But the things. Look at the tire.
Oh, grandma died again or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
And plan B would be, I would be terrified. And yeah, I would ask, my consultant over here. I'd be
You
like,
almost called me something else. I saw that.
I do that a lot. And I would have asked you and I would have been scared because I don't know the answer. And I would have, I'd have been, how do the fancy men dress now?
The fancy man.
And you probably would have helped me out. But, I would have Googled it too. I mean, I'm starting to get into this routine now. And so I think we grew up around the same time as I'm looking around the table. And I know that, early on in our life, we couldn't just go to Google or YouTube or whatever to figure things out. And so now that we're sort of in that time period, I have found myself getting better at that. So I often do a lot of research online and I try to figure stuff out. But I think the point is I would likely do both, right? I'd be looking it up because she's not going to be an expert. She's going to have an opinion that's going to be better than mine, but she might not know everything,
That's true.
So I would do both. I just want to throw that out there. So it does bring a little bit of credence to the idea that, maybe he just was worried about looking like a dork and there isn't some other woman involved, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it's entirely, like I said, and I cannot reiterate this enough.
I know you sound and look very serious right now.
If you aren't putting this kind of effort into like a date night, but you're putting it into a work thing, I'm going to have exception with that. There's going to be a problem.
Okay. Are you wanting me to dress nicer?
As long as you're going to dress the same for everything, I don't care.
Okay. I can live with that.
Now,
Maybe just one time a year.
Right? Like, can we put on like closed-toed shoes?
yeah, but if he came to you and explained the situation, it's like there's this work thing, and some dude at work's giving me crap about what I wear, and like I need to look nicer. That would be fine, right? You'd be,
Yeah, if you talked to me about it and wasn't just being weird, secretly packing nicer clothes and then Googling nicer clothes and smelling better. Yeah.
Well, in a way, this kind of happened, right? Because I started a new job a couple years ago, and the dress code was substantially different than what I had been used to my whole life, right?
Kind of, because you went through the suit phase at the other job too, and then you got out of that, and there was like the very much everyday same thing that you wore. But then, yes, with this new job, it was suits every day. But I expected that. And we knew and talked about the shoot.
But
I
where
went
did I
shopping
go?
with you.
That's what I'm saying. Where did I go when I needed to figure out how to dress?
Yeah, we worked on it together.
Oh yeah, I go to yeah. Best source right there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are we ready to render a verdict?
I think we are. And we're going to start with Courtney. So just reminding you, the question is, am I guilty of being too suspicious?
Personally, I don't think she is.
So not
It's not
guilty.
guilty.
I say not guilty.
Okay.
Okay, Dan, the man, where you at?
No,
No,
she's not.
All right,
Okay.
you guys agree.
All right. Woo woo.
All right, that's good news.
Shocking.
Oh, man.
What's wrong, Eric?
I think it's time for a cheesy commercial.
Damn, I hate commercials.
Me too. Let's do one.
Great idea.
Wife,
Yes, husband.
please tell our listeners how they can write into the show, participate as guests, or maybe even get free merch.
I'd be happy to. The best way to reach out to us is by emailing the show at mistrialbyfire@gmail.com. You can also send us direct messages on any of our social media platforms.
But why would they?
I'm so glad you asked. Maybe they want to be on the show, which could happen in person or virtually. Also, if you have a story or content you think we could use for the show, send it. If your material is selected, we will reach out and send you some swag.
And what's that email address again?
Our email address is mistrialbyfire@gmail.com.
Perfect. Anything else?
The only thing left to do is get back to the show.
And here we go. Case 2. Am I guilty of overreacting? I am a 40-year-old male and I have been married to my wife, a 39-year-old female, for 10 years. We live in a typical neighborhood and we have made friends with all of our immediate neighbors. One of those neighbors is a single man that lives across the street from us. He and I first met while we were putting up Christmas lights on our houses one year, and it turned into a friendly annual competition after that. On occasion, he would stop by and we would have a beer or two in my garage, talk about work, and so on. Naturally, our discussions would venture into relationships, and I found it especially interesting that he never seemed to be dating anyone or have a significant other. We live in a small town, and even though the dating pool is pretty shallow, I really never pressed the issue. After a while, I assumed he began to trust me, and that's when he told me that he's gay, but not openly. His family also lives in the same community, and he felt that coming out would only bring conflict. None of that matters to me very much, except I do feel bad that he has to hide who he really is. We continued to build our friendship, and over several months became pretty close. And I know what everybody's thinking, so let me say this. He and I did not become lovers, and no, I'm not gay. All right.
That clears that up. Okay.
Yeah. The problem is that he also became close friends with my wife. At first, this didn't bother me at all because I was always around when they were together. Over time, though, he developed a personal relationship with both of us. My wife and I both work, but she gets home a couple hours before me. Sometimes when I get home, they're hanging out and drinking wine in the living room. When I walk in the living room, they stop talking and just sort of chuckle amongst themselves. When they aren't together, they are texting nonstop and often play online video games. My wife and I don't have children, so both of us have plenty of downtime. Also, my wife and I usually have 1 or 2 days a week when our work schedules don't align, leaving us both with days that the other person is working while one of us is at home. On the days when I'm working and she is home, I can almost always guarantee that she will be spending time with our neighbor. I try not to let it bother me, and she assures me that there is nothing romantic happening between them. Their friendship has never really interfered with our time together, and I see her making an effort to make sure it doesn't. Lately, though, they have been giving each other massages, and that is where I'm beginning to get upset. Nobody is naked, and it's mostly shoulders and upper back, but she doesn't give me massages, and she tells me that he does a better job than me, so she doesn't let me massage her either. I told her this makes me uncomfortable and that I don't like how close they are with their inside jokes, constant time together, and now massages. Am I guilty of overreacting?
Ooh, interesting. Because if it was a woman, he wouldn't care so much, I don't think.
I don't know.
But
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, if it's a woman that's romantically interested in his wife, he might.
But he's
And I
gay,
think that's
so
what he's worried
not,
about.
But he's not interested in women.
Him
supposedly.
being gay means nothing.
I agree.
Yeah. Him being gay means absolutely nothing. Just that idea is, I'm not attacking you here because I know you feel the same way. We've had discussions like this, but just because somebody says I'm gay or I'm lesbian or I'm, whatever, attracted to whatever, whomever, doesn't mean that they have this inability to become attracted to somebody that they previously believed they were not attracted to.
You are correct. And yes, I do believe that as well. But it's an interesting study because even if it was a woman, it doesn't mean that they couldn't be attracted to each other either.
Right.
So is it that they're just too close? And what is too close if you're friends and there is no sexual attraction and you're literally just having a good time with this other person? Is it because your person is supposed to be your spouse that you're not having as good of a time with them?
Yeah, it feels a little like there's too much energy going the wrong place. And you're also getting into this danger zone, right? Where I'm thinking, I'm trying to keep it in context. So in my head, I'm the husband, you're the wife, and, the guy that lives across the street, not the guy that currently lives across the street,
Right,
but
we're all friends, but yes, no, not single and this is not happening. Right.
And I'm just thinking, I'm coming home from work. You guys are laughing and scratching and drinking wine in the living room. Now you're giving each other massages and, you got all the inside jokes, and I think it makes it weirder because, and I'm probably going to get canceled for saying this. I think it makes it weirder because he is a dude. And just fundamentally,
he's also a dude in the closet, which means no one else knows that he's gay, which puts a little bit of question into the whole.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Interesting.
a good point. So
it would bother me regardless of that, but that with everything else, I'm like, yeah, I don't trust you, dude. I don't know you.
And how do you confirm that he's gay and not interested in women? Also, he's just saying that you've never seen him with anybody else,
Right.
I mean, this reminds me of the funny movies we used to see where the guy would pretend like he's gay so he could be around women.
More, yeah.
And kind of not.
I know a guy who did that once. Not
really.
I was friends with the females in this situation, but he was pretending to be gay to get in with the females. And I was like, this dude's not gay. And they're like, no, he's so gay. I'm like, no, this dude's not gay.
Yeah, trust me.
And then,
This guy
6
is
months
not
later,
gay.
6 months later, it's like, yeah, he wasn't gay. I was like, I told you.
I tried to tell you. Yeah.
So you just made me think of something. So when I was in high school, the guys used to all like to act like they were gay. It was kind of a thing. I don't really know why.
Yep.
But one guy in particular would do a lot of flirting with my boyfriend at the time and try to sit in his lap and do other things that I just was really not okay with.
Right.
And I was like, no, we're going to not do that. And everybody be like, oh, they're just playing, Courtney. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then he came out later when he went to college. And I was like, so I'm not okay with the fact that he was flirting blatantly in front of me with my boyfriend. And you guys all told me that I was just being psycho. But if some other girl was doing that, you guys would have all been on my side.
Yeah.
Right. It would have been cat fight time for
And even
sure.
though
Everybody would have been like, no, why are you sitting in her boyfriend's lap right next to her?
Yeah, that's a yank of the hair out of the lap situation.
I would have lost my stuff.
Yeah. And it comes across as the opposite, but it's really not. It's somebody pretending that they are not a certain sexuality, and in fact they are. So, the concern comes in this scenario. To me, the concern comes from, I think number one, I trust my wife. I would expect that she's not overstepping any boundaries. I'm not trusting this person I'm not married to. And I'm wondering what's going on. But I think the bigger concern is just the excessive amount of time and energy put into that relationship, regardless of what happens next. The texting all day, the online, I think it was video games, the inside jokes, and now we're giving each other massages. And I've never seen this person with another individual. I've never seen this person dating. I've never seen this person with anybody. So it kind of sounds like they're having that relationship gap filled with my significant other.
Right.
Right. And that
doesn't feel good.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, it's an emotional relationship.
An emotional. Right. Okay. So now we're jumping into the
emotional affair potentially.
Right. Affairs do not just have to be, the first thing we think of, right? That physical relationship, but how much is left for the husband? Are we are we texting and laughing and having inside jokes and all this other stuff, or is all that going to
probably
the
not.
neighbor guy?
You've been together for 10 years. You're not having all the cutesy little stuff. They're in a new relationship.
Which is always more fun and interesting.
And he probably was having more fun with dude before his wife started being friends with him too.
Right. And
They were
things
having their
slowed.
own stuff too. And then the relationship went to the wife, and now he's feeling left out. He probably wasn't feeling left out when he was drinking in the garage having fun with dude.
Right.
True.
Right.
She was feeling left out. And then she was like, we're going to be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a red flag. Like, it's time to sit down and talk. And like, I mean, just the boundaries thing. It's like, why are you massages? Like, you would pay people to do that for a reason, you know. Like, if you need a massage, go pay someone to get a massage. Like,
I didn't like the attack too. Like, you're not as good as him at massages.
Yeah,
so
that's
don't give me a
hurtful.
massage.
Definitely hurtful.
So here's a question for the panel. Do you start that conversation with your wife? Do you have a conversation with dude across the street? Do you have a conversation with both of them at the same time? Or do you just focus all that attention on the wife and try to shore up that relationship there?
I would have to have the conversation with both. I would have started with the wife, and I would have been like, hey, babe, this isn't cool. Massage has got to stop.
And then
Shouldn't be happening going forward. And then I would have had to talk to him and been like, listen, this ain't cool. We're cool. You and her, we're cool. But don't touch my wife.
Keep your hands
Keep your
off.
hands to
yeah.
yourself.
Does that seem
Thanks.
reasonable?
I think
seems
so, but
the world we're living in is wacky, but I think that's reasonable. I think it's reasonable under any circumstance to tell the friend, stop rubbing my wife.
Oh, okay. So we're going to pull real life scenario into this.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you had a friend who gave amazing massages, and it was always fully clothed. I'm not going to mention this person's name, but this individual did such an amazing job. And you're even like, babe, you've got to see how good of a job she does, like with the upper shoulders. And I knew it was completely platonic, and there was literally no threat there. And I guess if it was a regular thing, I maybe would have gotten more concerned, but it was genuinely just kind of like this nice thing where it was like an anti-stress, like 5-minute little upper neck thing.
was she certified? Like, did she have like some sort of?
It felt like it, but I don't know if she was or wasn't.
I don't I mean, I believe you. I just don't remember what you're talking about right now.
Well, like I said, I'm not going to say
I
their
felt
name.
like this was coming though. You didn't really, because you sounded like there was a specific story coming from this.
Yeah, which is funny because there really is, and it wasn't an issue for me in particular, but I even I knew, and it's not like it happened often. It would just kind of randomly happen, but for whatever reason, I was never threatened by that particular situation.
I don't know.
Wait, can we clarify for listeners?
Yeah.
So he had a friend / coworker, whatever, somebody he knew.
Was it a coworker?
Not really.
Okay.
So he knew this person in some way.
Right.
And this person would just randomly give him back massages.
Sounds awesome.
It was like
then
a
he-
shoulder neck thing. Yeah. So it wasn't, it was always like fully clothed. It could be like the middle of the day and in front of other people. It's not like it was like a secret, okay, step into my office so I can rub you down.
And then he came home and he was like, hey, babe, you got to get a back massage from so-and-so.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the exact circumstance. We were somewhere together and I think I was complaining about my neck hurting because I do get neck pain every now and again. And he was like, she does such a good job. And for some reason at the moment, it didn't occur to me like, why do you know that she does a good job? But he told me and it didn't bother me. And she did. And it was freaking magical. And it was, it took like 2 minutes and then my neck felt so much better.
I think so. It wasn't preceded by the emotional aspect.
Yeah,
That's
I
also
think that-
true.
right.
That's the
Yeah.
difference. We're not.
But isn't that interesting though? Like how it, because there's, even though there is a semi-emotional connection, you did know this person and you were friendly with this person, but there was not like the inside jokes and the drinking wine together and something about, I think, being alone at home with this happening.
And I think that's the issue. It's the sort of cumulative, it's the everything that's involved, right? If you just, man, I really wish I could remember what you were talking about, but if it's just somebody that you interact with.
Do you want to pause and I'll tell you who, and then you can come back on so you can speak?
Okay, I'm going to pause.
Okay, now that we were unpaused and you got to know who we were talking about, so you can also test it. It was like there was nothing weird about it, but also not behind closed doors.
Right, yeah.
No clothes were off, and there was no other drinking wine, inside joke sort of thing happening.
None of that stuff going on. And I think that's the difference. I think this guy's mostly upset about the sort of emotional affair and all of the energy that's going into this relationship.
The touching was like over the line. Like that was the straw, really.
It's kind of hard to not argue that. And, I obviously there's not a lot of details on the story, but what I'm picturing is, they're both in the house and they're the only people there. And, maybe the jacket comes off, but the t-shirt stays on or something. And, I don't, Kenny G's playing in the background. I don't know. Something's going on. It just
Kenny G.
Is that
Stop
too far?
Spicy.
I don't.
It's spicy.
Nothing gets me ramped up like some Kenny G.
Yeah. So things are about to go down.
When the flute comes
When that
out.
flute comes
or
out.
saxophone.
Saxophone. We got to bring it back.
Bring back Kenny G. We love you, Kenny G.
Man. All right. This is probably going to get edited out, but I want to share this story anyway. Side note. I saved up for a whole summer to buy my first CD player. And
I love this story.
This was like in the early 90s, I think, so I worked all summer to buy a CD player, and it was like, the Quasar bookshelf stereo with this one CD and like the slow eject tape, it was badass back then. And so I saved up, like $1 million and bought this thing, and I get it. And it dawned on me, I have no money to buy a CD. And at that point in my life, CDs were like, 30 or $40. I mean, they were kind of a new idea commercially. And I was, I don't want to scare you, but I was kind of a street kid. I was super into NWA and, listened to a lot of rap at that point in my life. And
you were so tough, baby.
I was. I know. I was kind of hard. Yeah. So, but I didn't have a CD. So it's like you're listening to local radio or you're listening to, your old ass cassette tapes that you have. And probably one of the nicest things my grandma ever did, she decided that she was going to buy me a CD as a gift. And I lived with my grandparents. And so she goes to, like Kmart or Payless or whatever was around then. And she goes in to look at the music, and she knows that I listen to rap. And so she sees this CD and she buys it for me, and she wraps it up and she brings it home. And she's like, I bought you this CD for your CD player. And I know you listen to the, hippity hop music and all this stuff. And so I open it and it's Kenny G. Because
doesn't that name sound gangster?
Because my grandma has heard the lingo, right? And she's like,
Warren G, Kenny G.
It's like the same thing.
Though. Like it's the sweetest thing,
right? It is super sweet.
So what do? I have one CD. I have one CD player that I've never got to listen to.
Liking Kenny G.
So goddamn, I put Kenny G in. No need to adjust the bass. No. And for like as long as it took for me to buy another CD, I'm listening to Kenny G on
until
my
that BMG showed up with the 12 CDs
I
for
got
a
them
cent.
all.
Yeah,
I'm still hiding from BMG and Columbia House. They're still after me. All right, sorry. Enough of that. Okay,
that's a good side story.
I think we probably talked it out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this time we're going to start with Dan the man. Question is, am I guilty of overreacting? And this is the husband asking if he's guilty of overreacting regarding the relationship with the neighbor across the street.
No, he's right on point.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Okay. All right. And our laugh yogi?
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
He is also not guilty?
I think he's not guilty. I definitely would have reacted. He underreacted.
Yeah.
I would have lost my stuff.
Right.
I'd be like, listen,
Nice.
everybody's going to have to keep their hands to themselves. Okay.
We have a verdict. Nice.
That's awesome. It's funny as we're talking about it, I'm having like visions. I'm like, even if this was a dude, I don't know if I'd be equally concerned, more concerned. But if I came home and you were just like having wine with a dude friend and giving each other massages,
well, what if I was having wine with the woman across the street that said she's gay?
Yeah,
and we're exchanging massages.
Yeah, but no. None of that.
That's a no-go.
Yeah. All right, case number 3. Ooh, another. Am I guilty of overreacting? My wife's sister recently began staying with us. She's relocating to live closer to our family. She is recently divorced and buying a home in our town, but will need to live with us for about 2 weeks until escrow closes for her new home. I've always gotten along with her, but I've only needed to be around her in small doses. She's been staying with us for about a week now, and I'm losing my mind. She's my wife's best friend, and they're very close, which makes no sense to me because they are so fundamentally different. My wife is empathetic and modest. Her sister is extremely self-centered and very materialistic. I'm a security guard, and I work rotating shifts. 2 nights ago, I got home around 4 a.m. Usually, I work either day or night shifts, so getting home around 4 a.m. was unusual, but it happens sometimes. Anyway, I walked in the house as quietly as I could, but the entryway creaked, so Rachel, the sister, heard me. The next morning, she asked if coming home at 4 a.m. will be a regular occurrence because I woke her up. She asked if I can avoid coming home at such hours, and if not, then I should quietly come through the back door. I don't think I like Rachel.
Yeah, we're on a bad start already.
I said, I'll avoid it as best I can, but some things will be unavoidable, and I apologize in advance. She keeps complaining every time anyone walks up or down the stairs when she's trying to take a nap or at night when she's asleep. Okay. She's been complaining about literally everything. She'll say stuff like, the Wi-Fi is shit. The area is too noisy. I can't sleep. The couch is bad for my back. The fruits here are terrible. She even said our forks are too thin.
What?
If she was complaining about things that I could change easily, then I wouldn't mind because I do want them to enjoy their stay here. But hearing her complain about everything under the sun is draining. I hate coming home from work just to hear her complain and complain and complain. She demanded that we buy an air purifier for her room because her house is too dusty. You guys should see my face. Total disapproval.
You don't look happy.
I'm not happy. F Rachel. She also asked that our child, her nephew, stop playing basketball outside by 5 p.m. because that's the time she prefers to soak in the tub, and it's hard to relax with the constant sound of a ball bouncing in the driveway. My wife makes her meals, and they are different from the rest of what the family eats because, of course, my sister-in-law is a vegan. She doesn't offer to help with the cost of groceries, but isn't shy about asking for special purchases because she doesn't eat the poor quality food that we do. The next part is really personal, but I put it in here because I'm past my breaking point. Last night after dinner, my wife and I were watching TV in the living room. We were sitting next to one another on the couch. Rachel and our son were also in the room. My wife was snuggled up with me and gave me a couple kisses. Rachel became upset and said our constant displays of affection are not only inappropriate in front of our child, but they make her extremely uncomfortable as a guest. She also stated that we were being insensitive because she's going through a divorce. I wonder why. So now...
Man.
My wife refuses to sit right next to me while we're in the living room. She also refuses to have sex with me while my sister's staying at her house because she doesn't want to make any waves.
Time to go.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed your stay.
Yeah. Yesterday, we learned that her escrow fell through. Oh, Lord.
No.
She put a new offer in on a different home, but likely will need a place to stay for at least another 30 days. I don't think I can make it that long. I told my wife we could rent her a furnished apartment for the period of time, but my wife said that's not the way we treat family. I'm considering renting the apartment anyway and staying there myself until Rachel moves out.
Attaboy.
Yep. I'm out.
My wife is extremely upset that I would even make that suggestion, but told me that I'm the one making everything into a problem, and if anyone should leave temporarily, then it should be me. Am I guilty of overreacting? Damn, Rachel would probably have to have a little accident.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to spend that time in the hospital.
Oh man, those stairs. She doesn't like people running up and
I
down.
know,
She's gonna
just
fall down the
tripped
stairs.
right on down those stairs.
You know what? I don't like the wife either, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why she's being so overprotective of her sister. Her sister's being a bad words.
Bad words.
A bad.
But
Lots of bad
is there
words.
space here for sucking it up and saying that's my wife's sister? I need to endure this a little bit. It's only temporary.
It was fun until she corrected their parenting and then cut off its sex life. That's a no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's all bad. Huh?
Just no. Never know.
Dan isn't having it.
There's either the intervention and she changes or she gets out.
Yeah.
Well,
or I
and
leave.
they keep bending over backwards for every little thing that she keeps saying is, oh, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. I'm sorry, but if I come home at 4 a.m. in my house and you complain,
Well,
we're
I'm
gonna have
trying
an
to be
issue.
quiet.
And I've lived with people multiple times on and off throughout my life, and it is difficult. It is, no matter who it is, whether it's your spouse or your kids or your family or roommates. It's always hard, but she's sucks. Rachel sucks.
She
She
super
does.
sucks.
She super sucks. And she's in the middle of a divorce. So, yeah, she's probably in a very negative spot right now. And she's complaining a lot because that's all she can do is complain about these
Was
things.
it really just they're snuggling on a couch and a couple kisses happen? Is that what I remember hearing?
That's what he
what
said.
and then
Yeah.
she loses it and stands up and kind of does the "how dare you" thing.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, that's too much. Like, I can't even fathom acting that way. I'm so the opposite if I'm at someone's house. I'm like, I will eat whatever you're cooking. I mean, short of something that's going to literally make me vomit.
I forgot about that part too. So buy me special stuff because I'm a vegan,
But I'm not going to pay for any of it.
and prepare it for me.
Yes. And
And
even
I'm
though-
going to say your stuff is poor quality.
yeah.
And- oh, yeah.
I'm
And
not
I'm
eat your
gonna
peasant food.
But I'm living with you
I'm
because
living
I
with you.
have to.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but these people don't sound poor by any means. If
No.
he can go rent a furnished apartment for
Right.
her or him, like they are not eating peasant food.
This guy's probably like willing to sell his truck to do that, though. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty extreme situation.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
and-
Wow.
I feel like I'm pretty tolerant. One time, my ex had family that came into town, and it was her. I think her cousin. They showed up in a school bus that they had just bought. It was a full size, full length school bus.
Wow.
And they stripped it in the front yard, and they painted it and turned it into their little like love shack. Right.
Oh,
They were there for over a month. Now they're good people. I mean, they're good people. We got along.
Sure.
But definitely it had an impact on my day to day.
but they're living in a bus in front of your house.
Right. Well, no, they were living in the house because it wasn't done yet. And yeah, so
Refurbishing it in front of your home.
Right.
This is like the uncle from National Lampoon.
Right.
Yeah. By the time they left, I have fond memories of them being there, but in retrospect, like I'm pretty tolerant, but this lady, that's not a school bus. She needs an attitude adjustment. Like she's
Yeah, like a reality check.
Yeah.
Like you have to stay with us because of the situation your life is in, and you want us to, I just accommodate in weird, unhealthy ways. Like the kid can't bounce the ball. You need to sneak into your house if you get home late.
It's crazy. I would be having a conversation with this person. They'd have about 2 days to get their shit together before I was like, okay, we're going to talk. I'm sorry you're unhappy here. You're welcome to stay somewhere else, but we are literally accommodating you the best that we can. I can't deal with complaining like that. I just can't.
What about the wife saying he's the problem though?
I'd leave. I'd so leave. At that point, I'm like,
Yeah.
But you guys can have the house all to yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and make some more room for you. I'll be back when she's gone.
I love his play of, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and rent that apartment anyway. And just, I'm going to
Yeah,
go
I'm gonna
stay
go.
over there.
Yeah, and the wife's like, you can go. I can't even understand that because I would never put you in that situation. I would have been on my sister's ass so quickly about not
Yeah.
being entitled bitch.
You know what? I want to
No,
throw
and
this.
I would have been like, you can go stay in the room we prepared for you with the air purifier. We got you. And outside of that, don't come out of my freaking out of that room. Because
Right.
Seriously, to say, oh, he can't bounce the ball outside after 5 p.m. because that's
Yeah.
when I like my bath time and my nap.
Right.
Are you a grown woman or are you a baby?
Right.
Like, you sound like a child.
Seriously, I was thinking the same thing. Like, oh, we need bath time and nap time. Like, are you working right now? Like, what is
Yeah, they
happening?
didn't even mention that. It
Yeah.
sounds like she'll work.
She's probably not working right now in the
yeah.
middle of the divorce and all
Yeah.
this stuff. So, real quick, I do
Yeah.
want to say we've been working at my house on if it is something that somebody can't fix about themselves in 30 seconds or less, then shut up and don't say it.
Interesting.
If it is not something they can fix in 30 seconds, then you don't need to comment in on it.
Give me an example.
If your shoe is untied, you can say, hey, your shoe's untied. You don't like his hair? You
Mm-hmm.
can't talk about it. We're not going to bring it up.
Oh.
So if it is not something somebody can fix in 30 seconds or less, it doesn't need to be a complaint that needs to come out loud.
but by that logic, this woman gets to stay in the house and do whatever she wants, and everybody has to adapt to her because it's her personality.
No.
That's the question.
Well, she
No,
can't complain.
She doesn't get to do the complaining every.
Oh, I see. I see.
So if it's
I feel
not,
like she's still a horrible human being.
Oh, she is. But he said if these were simple things that I could fix, he would do that. But if you're just complaining just to complain, like keep it out of your mouth. Go to the extra room.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
We can fix the food and the basketball and the coming in. I mean, we can fix a lot of that stuff real quick, though. I'm just saying.
Leave. Yeah, that's how you. Look, I'm gonna tell you this.
TTFO.
I hate three people in this scenario. I hate the sister because obviously that's easy. I kind of hate the wife for not sticking up for anybody, and maybe this is unpopular. I kind of hate the husband too.
Okay, let's hear it. Why?
Because he's getting ready to leave the house and he's going to leave his kid there.
Oh, yeah.
Around the evil aunt.
That's true.
He needs to move out of that into that
Leverage.
apartment, and he needs to take that kid with him because that
Save
poor
him.
kid can't even bounce the ball at 5 o'clock in the
Like,
afternoon.
first of all, kudos to this kid for actually playing outside. And now she's like, no, we can't have that.
Well, and I think for me, if my wife tried to tell me, no, you can leave, okay, then I will not be coming back.
Yeah.
Like we will legit just be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is my
You're
apartment
the
now.
problem. You go ahead and leave. It'd be
I'd be like, I'm taking my son. We're gonna go, or I'd be like, you two can leave.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure this out, and it's either gonna be me and my son are going to the apartment, or you guys can, because
I'm just picturing it 3 months later in a perfect world. Dad and son are eating ice cream for dinner in their apartment. And the evil
Playing
sister
basketball.
playing
6 o'clock.
basketball well past dark, the evil sister and the wife are just, back in the house being really angry and quiet. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
on that.
it's nuts. And just a little part that extra bothers me is, she says, we don't treat family like that. But all
What
things
am I?
considered- Yeah, exactly. Like, aren't I family? Not only my family, I'm your chosen family. You literally married me. You're not just family by birth and blood,
Yeah.
And my feelings don't matter now.
One thing I do want to touch on, though, and the husband identified this in the story, is how different the wife and the sister are. And I think that's important because if the wife, and I think he actually said empathetic, if the wife is actually like a very empathetic person, it might be outside of, her ability.
That's true.
This might be a lifelong thing where sister has walked all over her and she can't really contend with that. I mean, we don't know what other sort of stuff has happened, but the question is the question. Is he overreacting or not? But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because I kind of hate the wife too, but I'm trying to
give her
walk that
grace.
back
you're
a
right.
little
I
bit.
think
Yeah.
she's empathetic, and I think her sister's a narcissist who
Yeah.
just has always gotten her way, complained her way through life, and
Right. And this is kind of
is
par for
used
the
to
course.
being, as she said, more materialistic, more, or he said a little different.
She's not empathizing with him at all, though. I mean, she's completely. his
Oh,
feelings
yeah,
don't
no,
matter.
that's a really good point. She's not being empathetic with the husband at all.
And that could
Yeah.
be just training. I mean, maybe the sister's got everybody under her thumb, and it's just kind of like
knows how to
do
push
what
the
I-
button.
It's true. Yeah, like Courtney said, if she's a narcissist and this has been the familial pattern, then the younger or whoever, I don't know if she's younger or older, but the more empathetic sister is definitely going to be like what we were talking about before, like trauma bonded to the sister and
Bonds,
wanting to do her bidding and can't see past that with her husband because her husband hasn't put her through that. She doesn't have that traumatic bond with him.
Still crazy. All right. Well, I think we're there. I mean, this one was also
It's
kind of a softball, but yeah, good discussion. We'll go back to Courtney. Question from the husband's perspective: am I guilty of overreacting?
He is not.
He's not.
He's again underreacting.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Underreacting.
Again, you guys, these guys, I would have lost my mind. I would
Yeah.
have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind the first time when I walked in at 4 a.m. I would have been turning on lights.
Right.
I would have been dancing.
Right.
Opening and closing the fridge.
The music
Laugh
would
yoga
have
in
been
the living room.
blaring.
Yeah.
I would have been
4 a.m. laugh yoga.
Right. Yes.
YouTube up. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm
Sorry,
like,
time to live
everybody,
stream.
it's time to wake up.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, Dan the man, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty at all.
Yeah, we're back there. Good work. All right, you guys
Gotta
are
put her in
3
her
for
place.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
awesome.
did awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on
Thank
our
you for
show.
being
We
here.
loved having you guys here.
Thanks for
for
having
having
me.
Yeah, Courtney, great to have you back. Dan, good to meet you. Hope we can rope you back into it.
Definitely.
All right, guys.
And with that, this concludes another episode of Mistrial by Fire, brought to you by Uncommon Threads. We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, make sure to like, share, and follow us.
Also, don't forget to contact us by reaching out to mistrialbyfire@gmail.com.
We would love to have you on the show or hear from you if you have a story you'd like featured.
And from both of us, thanks again for listening. We wouldn't be here without you.